The man was horrified to discover that every night, the hotel would shrink a little bit. To verify his suspicions, he tied a rope between two walls, only to witness the terrifying sight of the once tight rope gradually loosening. What was even more terrifying was that the hotel had no exits at all. The chef and guests had been living there for over a decade without ever stepping outside. If the hotel continued to shrink, its residents would eventually be crushed to death. Strangely, no one seemed to care about the hotel's odd phenomena. Instead, they simply kicked the man out, completely ignoring his concerns. Unlike his colleagues' calm demeanor, George was consumed by anxiety. The hotel's eerie qualities went far beyond the shrinking walls. When he first moved in, he discovered a strange old man lying mysteriously under the bed. After finally driving the old man away, he found an employee hiding in the wardrobe. At first, George didn't think much of it. But the next day, when he tried to leave, he made a spine-chilling discovery. The staircase that should have been there had vanished without a trace. George frantically searched for an exit, but every possible route had vanished. Suddenly, the building's pipes began to shake violently, and the paintings on the walls seemed ready to peel off. Confused, George pressed his ear against the wall and heard an impossible sound, the sound of a heartbeat coming from inside the walls. As the vibrations intensified, two small doors suddenly appeared out of thin air on the wall. Moments later, a band emerged from these doors, creating an absurd scene, and George immediately turned to flee. But he unexpectedly found himself back in the kitchen. With no way out, George had no choice but to stay in the hotel kitchen. But the hotel's strange events were far from over. One night, while he was in the bathroom, the doorknob suddenly began to turn. Suddenly, several arms reached out from the doorframe. George was terrified and tried to kick the hands away, but they did not let go. In his fear, he collapsed and fainted. The next morning, his colleague Jimmy found and rescued him. George realized he couldn't stay any longer and asked Jimmy where the hotel's exit was. However, Jimmy revealed that they had been working there for over 10 years and had never left the hotel, so he didn't know where the exit was either. Just then, George noticed the front desk staff entering the kitchen. He immediately tried to chase after them down the corridor but watched helplessly as they vanished into thin air.